Welcome to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. Today we're picking up where we left off the other day on these drum switches that got injured in a machine crash. This is one that hasn't been repaired yet. This is one that I've been working on a little bit and getting it straightened up and back in action. I ran into a little problem with the switch contacts. They're a phenolic or bakelite material, and one end is kind of chipped out a little bit. So I had to noodle on it a little bit and think about how I was going to fix that. So I came up with an idea, and we're going to try that tonight and see how it goes. I got some little truss head machine screws, some small ones. Truss head is basically a low kind of domed head. Use them in decorative things, or maybe you have a large hole that you want to cover up and you don't want to use a washer, so you can use a truss head on that. Anyway, the idea is that there's these openings in the end of the switch here that these phenolic parts project kind of through. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill and tap the ends of the phenolic part and just secure them with screws and quit horsing around here. I don't have anything to build this up with, and you know, it's pretty easy to just drill and tap the ends of these and just mount them. As far as from an electrical standpoint, it's not really a big deal because it's low voltage for one, and it's pretty far away from the action there, and it's already touching metal anyway, so what's the difference? Anyway, so that's the plan. We're gonna get those set up in the mill and very carefully drill and tap the ends of those, and then get them mounted in back in the drum switch housing. Looks like I'm going to be able to get rid of this this little clip here on the end. Maybe I want to save that. I don't know, once again, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I think I'm going to take that out, and it just makes both ends the same, and I'll have a screw going in from either end, and then it'll secure it. And then the you know, it's rectangular, so it'll be in this rectangular slot so that there will be no rotation possible, because there's pressure on these contacts as this drum switch rotates through its operational range. Anyway, so that's the plan, and so we're going to go over to the mill. I'll reset the camera, go over to the mill, and go from there. Okay, welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom, and let's do that again. Okay, so we're back over at the mill here, and I'm going to figure out how to set these little guys up here. You can kind of see that there. The corner's chipped out there. We got to deal with that. So we got to stand them up in the mill here somehow, and I think I see how to do that. Something like that. Looks. Of course, those are not lined up. Well, looking for a common surface here. To get those lined up. Closer, see what we look like there. It's kind of a weird little shape here. I'm probably gonna. Actually, it sits in there pretty good. there's a projection on one side here that I'm dealing with, but one side is actually, it's got a couple of bumps on it, but one of those sits against that, and this nice flat back sits against the jaw. So it looks pretty good. I just have to square it up the other way. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Yeah, let's work with that. Hey, what are you doing? That's Ernie the shop dog. I don't know, you can't see him, can you? Oh, there he is. Yep, you can see old Ernie here. Hey, Bob. Hey, how you doing? Huh? What's up? All right, get a little square and or a little block or something, and I'll put it up against that and see what we can do here. I'm just gonna plop a square up against it there. Let's hold that against it at the same time. Yeah, looks pretty good. I'm not going to be drilling a 1-inch hole through it, but it certainly feels secure. The screw size I'm putting in there is a 440, so I'm not too worried about it. The forces on it. Alright, so I think I'm gonna this edge find each one. It's not worth setting a stop up because they're too weird. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple measurements here and see where these things are. How much I got to work with. Alright, so they're about 3/16 thick. And looks okay. Like they started out 490. Alright, so let me get a little spotting drill and see what it looks like here. Alright, so 93, right? say for what? 250 minus. Well, it's kind of right on the. I think that's workable. So I'm just going to put one in the center, I think, of each one, in the center from the good edge that I have left there. So I should be able to put them all in there and do that. All right, so let me get a drill and a tap, and I'll get to some milling here. I'm going to spot it with this spotting drill. That looks workable. This is just a 90-degree stub length little spotting drill. This one's about 1/8 inch in diameter. I like these better than center drills. Center drills, I don't know if you had much experience with them, they're pretty easy to break, and the front geometry is just not a very good drill. So these spotting drills actually work a little bit better for this kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to drill a little ways to make that okay. So normally I would power tap something like this, but I'm smarter than that on this one. I'd be asking for it if I did that. So I'm just gonna use the quill as a guide and just kind of very gently kind of hand tap this, and sort of working. Oops. Yeah, you know what? It's just okay. Let's just keep going here. It's not working too good there. Probably should have went over 2. It's definitely broken in a better way. This one, the way it was flaked out, that's breaking out even more. So just gonna pull that out. When in doubt, do it by hand, right? It's certainly getting into some thicker stuff. It's headed the right way, but It's just a lot broken away here. I'm not liking the look of that. Should build that up with some, oh, you know what? I got some stuff I can build that up with. I have some fiberglass reinforced Bondo that would probably work really good for this, and it dries quick too. So what I'll do is I'm going to put a little dab on both of these here. I'll sand it and mix up a little batch of that, and then build that surface up so that I get some meat there that that will hold a thread. So I suppose I could go to a smaller size too, but that's really kind of the size I want there. The head's the right size, everything's kind of the right size, so I'm going to go with, go with that. So be right back. Okay, I'm back. Got the stuff here. I'm going to mix up a little batch here, and then build that surface up. That should be fine. Don't need very much. Stuff goes a long ways. Better to have a little too much. Now, I don't use this stuff very much, so I never quite remember what the ratios are. Yeah, well, I think it's pretty forgiving stuff. Oop, lovely. So of course, it's like the ketchup, right? If the ketchup sits around too long, the ketchup water comes out instead of the good ketchup. So you got to remember to shake the ketchup bottle, or else you get the ketchup water, right? When you go to a restaurant, it's no big deal because people are using it all the time, so you don't get ketchup water. But when you don't use much ketchup at home, all right, I'm going with that. I think the auto body guys, they really just kind of look for the color to be right, but I don't know. There's probably YouTube videos on this very subject right here. So. Now this isn't the fiberglass reinforced stuff. I didn't have any of that. I just have regular. But the stuff with the fiberglass filaments in it is pretty stinking strong. I've made milling fixtures out of that and done some pretty amazing stuff with it. And it's readily available all over the place, and it's cheap. So, okay, let's fix this up here. And the hard part's to get the buildup in the right place. All right, I'm gonna call that good. Let's let that sit. Might as well do this one while I'm at it. Okay, so this is one of those things that there's a point you're not going to do any more good with your tool, and you're just kind of making things worse. So the old guy I used to work with said, "Time to get off the horse." And if you get a good look, you're always tempted to kind of go back in there and diddle around with it, but just kind of resist. And if it looks good, just leave it. And don't get too excited, and you can always add more. And so now I'll keep an eye on this little puddle that I got left here to watch the hardness develop. And as it starts to get stiffer, I'll shave it a little bit with an X-Acto knife or a scalpel, just to kind of trim it down so I don't have to file so much. So we'll give that a couple minutes and see what we end up with on that. I might have to mix up another batch, but, that was pretty hard, right? So, all right, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. This stuff is starting to kick off here, so I can do a little trimming here to clean things up. I'm just trimming it off flush with the original surface here. It's still a little soft. I'll let that one sit a little while longer. Most of it's going to come off because where I want it to stick is in the rough part where it broke, so it was already kind of ground down to it's already ground down to and kind of prepped, so